Good evening, folks. How are you guys doing tonight? Hope you're well. Give me a second. Cool mask, where did we get it? Kev from the Bloody Angels Commander. Not from the Bloody Angels Commander, sorry. Kev from the Plastic Crackheads channel bought me it. It's from... I think it's from the official Warhammer site. So yeah, it's I don't know if it'll fit Kev, but it fits me okay. And it's got like a little insert as well. So like, it's got a replaceable insert you can put inside it. I guess like a filter basically, if you want to be super safe. So cool. Good evening, guys. Thanks for being here. Let me get done hitting my setup and we will start painting here in a second. Of course, the mask idea, as cutesy as it was, everything is now all being moved around. The overhead camera that I have is or the overhead setup I have is pretty ghetto. Good evening, Dirty Splodge, coming in straight away with a subscription. Welcome, Dirty Splodge, thank you so much. It should pop up any second. But happy Saturday night. And yeah, I just got my wife to cut my hair, honestly. I haven't gone to a professional hairdresser since the beginning of COVID. It just seems like an unnecessary risk, and when you have like I have a 1-year-old in the house, she obviously doesn't have the vaccine, so I just don't risk it. Appreciate it, Dirty Splodge. I guess my little pop-up is lagging. It should come in. I don't know why it hasn't. Painting's been pushed aside this week for the New World. That's that new MMO made by Amazon. So is it any good? I haven't checked out myself. I've been playing a tiny bit of Diablo 2 Resurrected. I used to play that when I was much younger. Really enjoyed that game when I was younger, so it's okay. I mean, it just seems like it's the same game, but now in 4K resolution. So I've been enjoying that. Let me see. It should have popped up. Maybe my stream alerts they're turned on. Let me turn on the chat anyway. Cool. It's your first proper MMO and you're having fun? Well, that's cool, because I think Amazon have made some other games before that have kind of bombed. Yeah, I guess Streamlabs is probably lagging. It'll probably pop up halfway through the stream or something. But I appreciate it, Dirty Splodge. Make sure you link up your make sure you link your YouTube account to your Discord account. So go into Discord, go into settings, and then you get access to our members only room, which is pretty cool. So I have finally got myself a Volkite Contemptor. Just one. I kind of wanted two, and this one does not look very high quality at all. That Forge World have been out of stock for months, so what are you supposed to do? I can see little bits of it just breaking off here. So this is most definitely a recast. But I mean, I've been checking Forge World for months now. I want two of these because I think they're kind of... I talked about it in this week's video. I think they're kind of broken or kind of overpowered for what they actually do. So I'm ready to spend the money, but I've asked Andrew to 3D print me another one of these because I want to try them, and I've got a tournament coming up locally I want to try them in. I would like to get the official models, always buy the official models. And this guy here is actually, I like to buy the official models and I like to make custom things. So this guy is like one of those Space Marine Hero custom guys. I'm going to start putting a little bit of paint on him. I think I might be trying to use this guy in my next army list. I'm not 100% sure. But I think. So we'll start with some Dawnstone. Good evening, Dracula. How you doing? Nice to see you. currently in the process of building a repulsor. Cool. Like the transport repulsor, or like an executioner repulsor. What up, the end? How you doing, man? I run Flesh Tears and I've got a grand tournament at the end of the month, so it'll be good to chat to other Blood Angels players. Yeah, well, we definitely have a lot, and if you remember, which you are now, you could submit your list and I can go over it. It will definitely get done within the end of the month. I think the queue for members at the moment is just a couple of weeks for army list submissions. So if you submit me what list you're thinking of running, you know, I'll spend half an hour. It's every Sunday at, I'm not sure we've met before, Dirty, but every Sunday at 4 o'clock UK time, so it's like 10 o'clock UK time now, so like 6 hours earlier than this stream. Every Sunday I go over army lists, and we do Flesh Terror armies, and we do successor chapters, and we just go over the lists and talk strategies and what I would do if I was running them, and how I think I can make them stronger. I might not always be right, but how I certainly try. I'm trying to source an executioner turret to swap them out. It's probably a cool idea, actually. So, I don't know too much about Volkite Contemptors, or in general, actually, I don't know all that much about Volkite weaponry. Someone that's big on the lore, what color are they're not like barrels here, they're like, they're almost like coils. What colors, you know, like in plasma, you can sort of go with blue or green. What color should Volkites be? Like, what is the actual color in the lore? I've seen some people do them sort of red, and I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm just gonna base coat most of this because it is a sort of lower quality thing, and I'm just gonna base coat the whole thing with Dawnstone, I think. And then I always find Dawnstone is like, if you don't have a pot of Dawnstone, it's like my go-to color for base coats. It's just a simple layer paint. It's a nice grey. I mean, if some people use those new greys, what are they called? I have one of them, Grey Seer, and there's another one, I forget the name of the other one. But some people like to start with Grey Seer and stuff. I'm a big advocate of Dawnstone. I use this colour for years now, and I generally lay it down underneath anything I'm going to paint metallic, anything I'm going to paint bronze, anything I'm going to paint gold. I generally always start with a layer of Dawnstone. And hi on Twitch, we see a few people tuning in on Twitch. We got a raid the other night on Twitch and actually got up to 50 viewers for the first time on Twitch, so that was super cool. I need to big shout out to Joe, it's really bad, I forget the guy's name now. I followed him on Twitter. I will check and make sure we give him a proper shout out afterwards. The cannon is red. Good evening to it, to Wound, how you doing? Alright, we'll go with red. I guess we'll have to go with sort of a dark red, so it sort of sits a little bit away from our Blood Angels red, but that'll be fine. But yeah, do you know what? It's Saturday night, and I'm sure you guys have heard me banging on about moving house. Well, this was like the sort of the penultimate weekend of moving. So I was moving boxes like all day, I was just moving boxes all day and packing stuff up. 90% of my Warhammer stuff is now like out of the house, somewhere safe, so that I don't have to try and move that on moving day, because that would be a nightmare, because I'm super precious about it. So, yeah, I was moving boxes all day, and I thought to myself, like, people sometimes ask on like these Saturday night streams, they're like, you should have a whiskey. Oh, let me close Discord so we don't hear the beeps. Like, we should have a whiskey, or we should have a drink or something. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I've been moving boxes all day. I looked at my watch. My watch is telling me like I've done 15,000 steps. I was like, all right, I've done a ton of exercise today. I was really productive. I was feeling really good about getting everything moved from a house move. I was like, I'm going to have a whiskey. So I went over to my cabinet where I have all my whiskey typically, and then realized that all the whiskey and all the alcohol has been moved into self-storage. So I literally do not have any whiskey in the house. And I was like, God damn it. The way it goes. I'm making some hills today, John, sending pics. Yeah, and anyone that's working on hobby tonight, let me know what you're working on. just in the chat. Also, let me know where you're from. If we haven't met before, I like to know where people are from. It's kind of mad that this community now spans. I actually don't know how many countries, but I feel like it's a lot. Like, there are people all over that are part of this community now, which is very cool. And if the music's too loud or anything, please let me know. I've had some people say sometimes I have the music on too loud, so please let me know and I'll put it down a little bit. It's not a problem at all. But yeah, I've been resisting getting Volkite Contemptors. One, because they haven't been in stock and I kind of wanted the official ones, but two, like, just everyone's using them now, right? Like, Andrew said at the London Grand Tournament, I'm up near Aberdeen, Scotland. Have been hubbing a while due to a bad back, falling behind on my Imperial magazine. All right, cool. I'm close to Aberdeen as well, about an hour's drive, maybe an hour and a half. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, no, Andrew was at the London Grand Tournament last week, and he said that people at the Grand Tournament were joking that there's more Contemptors, there's more Volkite Contemptors at the Grand Tournament than Games Workshop have sold, because like everybody at the Grand Tournament was using recasts of them. Because I don't understand, they've been out of stock for a month, literally a month. I've been wanting some. I don't know how long I've been wanting some. I just put together a captain from the Imperial magazine, and I'm not sure whether to paint him flesh tearers or not. Why would you not paint him flesh tearers? I did see a couple of photos on Twitter of this new Imperium captain. I assume he doesn't have any. I assume he doesn't have any markings on him, like for Ultramarines or anything like that. If he doesn't, then why would you not paint him your main chapter? You know. If he has like Ultramarine stuff on him, I guess maybe you're kind of forced. But usually those captains, that they're one-offs. They don't typically, or if they do give him an Ultramarine shoulder pad, you could just probably not put that shoulder pad on and put on a blank one and then put on a Flesh Tearers transfer, right? Or is it just you don't think he synergizes with the Flesh Tearers army or what? Good evening, Gitley. How you doing? I'm from New Mexico in the US. Do you know what? We have a couple of other people from New Mexico that are part of the channel community. Slake and Marcus, who have been on here, have been on live streams before, have sent super chats before. So yeah, maybe you even know some of them. There was the Volkite Relic Contemptors everywhere at LGT. Yeah, that's what Andrew was saying. I think the Relic Contemptors, like I'm painting them right now, but I honestly think that each arm could go up from 5 points to 10 points, and it would be totally balanced still. I don't know if I would change anything else. I just think 5 points for the Volkite is too cheap, especially when like the las cannon is like 25 points on a Contemptor Dreadnought. Like, and there's almost just no point to take the las cannon when you have the Volkites for 5 points. Which is well, it's not just a las cannon, is it? It's a twin las cannon, but still, the Volkites are just very, very competitive right now, I feel. I just converted one into a Blade Guard captain. Do you know what? I enjoyed the Blade Guard captains that came in the Indomitus box. I actually used one of them as lieutenant for a little while, because the lieutenant basically is a Blade Guard, right? Because he had the plasma pistol, no, the Volkite pistol, sorry, the sword and the shield. So yeah, I guess the running joke was that a lot of people at the LGT were using recasts of Volkites, because literally you can't get them off the Games Workshop site. Alright, that'll be a decent base coat on that. I'm going to base coat this assault cannon as well. Yeah, even if he has markings, spider wings, right, you could file them down. He looks too prim and proper to be Flesh Tearers. Can you not give him a different head? Can you not, like... Usually it's the head that's the problem, right? You can't pull off the head and give him a an angry looking head. D6 damage is kind of pants. It's too unreliable, isn't it? It's too swingy. I used to not mind las cannons, but I think as you move into more competitive settings, las cannons aren't a great choice. Multi-melters are an okay choice, right? Because you can do the thing with the multi-melters where if you have them on something fast, like attack bikes, you can get in within half range and get the additional 2 damage, which kind of makes them like 3 to 8, which is pretty good. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of las cannons at all in 9th edition. I don't think we have many good ways to run las cannons. I don't mind las talons. And what's the las cannons the eliminators have? Because the las cannons eliminators have the flat 3 damage. I don't mind them either. I forget what they're called on the eliminators. Maybe they're called las eliminators. Someone remind me. On the eliminators, what are the las cannons called? I think they're strength 8 minus 3 damage. I'm going to complete las fusils. That's the one. Thank you. Yeah, I like how on the eliminators they hit on 2s. That's pretty nice. And eliminators are pretty great in cover as well, right? So I don't mind the eliminators at all. I've run eliminators a couple of times in 9th, and they've been sort of hit and miss for me. But I think you can make eliminators work. If you're dedicated to making eliminators work, I think you can definitely make them work. And I think that the last fusils are a lot nicer, just because I take flat 3 damage over d6 any day of the week, I think. And I think it's just so you can with the flat 3 you can just sort of like you can make better decisions tactically, right? Because you kind of know what you're getting. But with the d6, you never know. Like if you've got 4 las cannons and they're all d6 damage, you don't know if you end up doing 4 damage to a target or 24 damage to a target. They're just too swingy. When a vehicle fires Overwatch, it can fire all of its weapons. Correct. The one question we had that I wasn't super sure about is, because Andrew tried to do it with the orc buggies, can the orc buggies fire Overwatch if the target's obscured? Because obviously they're indirect fire, and normally for Overwatch you need to be able to see your target, right? But if you have indirect fire Overwatch, is that okay? I still actually I don't think anyone confirmed or denied the actual ruling on that. Can you fire Overwatch with indirect fire weapons? I'll be converting my 3 Stormcast Eternals into Bladeguard Veterans. What type of Stormcast Eternals can you make Bladeguard Veterans out of then? But yeah, I saw the trailer for this Grey Knights game. Chaos Gate, I believe. And I kind of like the look of it. I want to play it on stream once it comes out. I'm hoping to get a new PC next year. My PC at the moment isn't up for streaming games. But next year maybe we'll get a new computer. Hey Adam, thanks so much for the subscription. Welcome to the channel. You know, we're a Blood Angels channel primarily, but we talk about successor chapters, we talk about other chapters now and then, and we also talk about how to beat various enemies at 40k and how to just be a better player at 40k as well. So thanks for tuning in. What do you think about running a super heavy in your list now with a 2 CP refund? Well, I ran a super heavy a few weeks back, Benno, on the channel. I don't know if you caught that game. It was the game when Andrew brought the 8 Rucka trucks and 9 mecha scrapjets or whatever they're called, and I mean, we won the game. The super heavy did well. Every turn it pretty much killed three orc vehicles a turn, and that's what I sort of said to Andrew. I was like, before the game, I was like, I've done some maths on this, and the super heavy will kill 3 of your vehicles every turn, so if you don't deal with it, at the end of the game you'll be tabled. I don't think he was tabled. But he'd hidden 2 trucks behind a building. But yeah, those orc buggies do a ridiculous amount of damage. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, they do way too much damage. They need to go up in points maybe as much as 20 points per buggy, like, in my opinion. Or it needs to be changed that you can't bring 9 of them. Like, at the moment there's squads of 1 to 3. Maybe they could be squads of 1 to 2 or something. They just do too much damage. I think a good player using those buggies is... It's almost a bit like those AdMech games at London Grand Tournament. Like, it's almost unbeatable. My specific question was the Redemptor Dread. Yeah, the Redemptor Dread can shoot all its weapons in Overwatch. I did it just this week on stream, Jeff. You just need to roll the same as you would roll, like, for if you're running the plasma or the rocket pods, you just roll the number of shots is exactly the same as you normally would, and then you you just roll the hit on 6s. Pro tip: if he's near your chapter master, you can sometimes get reroll 1s, or even if he's got chapter master rerolls, you can reroll everything, right? The only sad thing is that the Tech Marines buff that gives you +1 to hit doesn't apply to Overwatch. Because before I realised that, I was like, oh my god, a Tech Marine would be really good with the Redemptor, because if it means that they charge me and I can Overwatch on 5s. But no, it doesn't apply to the Tech Marines. The Tech Marines buff doesn't apply to your rolls for Overwatch. A little sad, but I mean, I think the thing with the Redemptor is that you're going to get enough shots to do some wounds, right? Because you're going to get up to 6 plasma shots, you're going to get up to 3 rocket pods, you're going to get probably 8 Stormbolter shots, and you're probably going to get those 8 onslaught cannon shots. So you're definitely going to have enough shots to do some wounds, I guess. So I guess the main question is just if you've got the CP to fire, like, are you going to burn the CP in Overwatch? And like, you'd want to be overwatching something you think you can kill a model or 2 out of, right? I'm kind of done with turn-based 40k games. Looking forward to Total War 3. Maybe one day they'll do a 40k version. I mean, it's a tough one, right? Because like real-time strategy, I guess, Dirty Sponge is so hard to do right. I remember the first Dawn of War. Do you know what? When I first started this channel, I actually played a couple of games of Dawn of War. Sometimes, but yeah, it's not fun to stream at the moment because my stream games because the PC's so crap. But it is on my list to. I've got such a big backlog of 40k. I haven't bought anything for 40k for a little while now, and I'm saving towards a new PC. But I think real-time strategy is so hard to get right. And I guess it's probably like a huge investment for the studios involved. So turn-based is okay. Hey CJ, good evening, how you doing? Not seen you in a while, but it's all good. Hey Camille, how you doing? I'm here when I can be, so I mean, it's up to you guys. You're welcome to be here when you can be. If you can't, it's all good. It's all good. I'm pretty much always gonna have models to paint, so you'll always find me streaming at some point. Like I said, I haven't bought any new models in 6 months, and I still probably have like 200 40k models to paint, and if I ever get through all 200 40k models to paint, I've been packing my house up. I have a lot, actually. Like, I have 2 armies for Star Wars Legion as well, both like, I want to say half painted. So if I ever run out of 40k models, I could get some Star Wars Legion on the go. I enjoy that game as well. One Saturday night, maybe we'll actually play a game of Star Wars Legion. I know it doesn't quite fit with the Blood Angels theme, but like just as a bit of fun on a Saturday night. That's usually what I'm trying to do on Saturday nights, just chill out. The Space Marine heroes, although I kind of messed up this one's arm and I need to re-glue it on, the Space Marine hero models are generally pretty cool, right? Like, I like them quite a lot. I think you can still find some of them in eBay, and I'd say like if you don't have any Space Marine heroes, it might be worth picking one up. Some of them you can get pretty cheap. Like I think I got this assault cannon guy for like $4 or $5. Some of them on the other hand are kind of ridiculous, so you just have to watch. But they do come up on eBay now and then pretty cheap. Sorry to hear the whiskey is bad. Yeah, apparently so am I. So there'll be no alcohol consumption for a few weeks, so that's all right. I generally don't. Alcohol for me is more like a once a month thing. Excuse me. The Caribbean cask you recommended was gold. Yeah, that is a good. That is a very, very nice whiskey, Bertie. I'm glad you tried it and took my word for it. It's one of my favorites. I have a couple of bottles that I like more that are a little bit more expensive, but the Caribbean cask is a really lovely drink, and it's made like 9 miles from where I live, which is cool. You would think because it was made so close it would be cheaper, but no, it's exact same price. I've been in duty free like hundreds of miles from home, you know, like at an airport, and it's been cheaper than it was like, and it's literally made 5 minutes down the road from me. So Scotch whiskey is very strange like that, in that like it's you would think it would be cheaper for us living in the midst of it, but apparently not. Play some Star Wars. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, we could play some. Again, I want to paint them. I generally hate playing unpainted miniatures. I know that some people do it on my channel sometimes. You know, like people rock up, like Brett rocked up with like an orc model that was completely grey. I don't know. To me, like I don't like painting. I don't like playing with unpainted miniatures. I'm okay with playing with miniatures that are half painted, like someone's made an effort for them, but if they're just grey, I don't like it. I think it just maybe you lose some of the immersion. You know, it just pulls you out or something. Hard to say, but you know, that Star Wars game is pretty good. It's basically Star Wars 40,000, right? Or Star Wars Warhammer, whatever you want to call it. I've played it a few times and it's quite fun if you've never tried it. The thing is though, like starting another game at this point, like I already got like 2 40k armies that I've neglected. I actually bought a bunch of Age of Sigmar stuff like 2 or 3 years ago now that like I've not even started, so I think probably I'll either just sell it or use it for conversions. I'm not sure. Grey should be -1 to save rolls. Yeah, probably, or -1 to hit rolls, something like that. Yeah. I actually bought like not this Cursed City release, because this Cursed City release was a bit of a strange release. I bought the previous Warhammer Quest, like both of them, Shadows over Hammerhall. And what was the other one called? Silver Tower. So I had both those games. Like one of them was brand new on Sprue, and I had them for like 2 years. And one of them I made all the models. I think it was Silver Tower. I made all the models. I painted, let's say, I undercoated them all, and I painted about half of them. About halfway, right? So like nothing was finished, but everything was in a good state. You know, like, you know how I always spend a lot of time doing base coats. So like the models were basically a point where like someone could just pick them up and start like edge highlighting them, or taking the colors to where they wanted to go, right? So like I'd spent a bit of time getting the base coats, but like, you know, the base coats were generally of a high quality, right? Like there wasn't any splodges or anything like that. So it would have been a good for somebody. So I put them on eBay for like 3 or 4 times what I paid for it, and it sold pretty quickly, like probably like 2 months maybe. So I don't know if anyone has that curse, like, I guess, and the reason I sold it was like I just didn't have time. Like, it's very easy in this hobby, I think, to buy models or bite off more than you can chew model wise and then be stuck for a while, you know. So anyone, all right, cool. James is painting his silver tower. It's a cool set, right? You actually got a lot of models in that silver tower set, like, and a ton of Zine stuff that you could actually use in 40k as well, because there's like tons of Zangors and stuff in there, right? Yeah, I think it's very easy to over purchase, I guess. And then the other thing to say is like, I'm gonna do yellow on this guy's blade here in a second. I bought so many Orcs and Blood Angels over the last year since I started playing that I think I'll always have some unfinished models. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I just have so many unfinished. And so many unfinished for different games that it's like, kind of, you know, I just had to sell Warhammer Quest because I was like, I am not going to get to this for like 5 years or something at this rate. And if I'm not going to get to it for 5 years, then like just sell it and come back to us or something. Hey Battle Brothers, anyone magnetized the clear raised stalks on Inceptors, the part that elevates the model? I think I'm trying to do this for the easier storage and transport. I didn't magnetize them, Teza, but I used, so I have mine, I drilled them and used paper clips. If you want me to show you how I did it, they're in the box right behind me, so I can grab them and show you. But no, I didn't actually magnetize them, but I did feel the same way that like, I didn't want them to stick. I didn't want to stick them to it because one, I thought that I would break them every time I transported them, and two, it makes transporting them like really difficult because they're like really tall and long, right? So I can show you what I did. I don't think it's the greatest solution, but I think it's better than sticking it on them. But yeah, it was, magnets may be a better option. Alright, give me 1 second. I'll just finish this black paint and then I'll grab them. I have a squad of suppressors that I played the other night, and I was going to do them the exact same way. So I guess I don't hate what I've done. If I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do the suppressors the same, like, so it sort of works. But yeah, those flight stands aren't. Yeah, I mean, I'm really not sure how would be a good, like, what was the plan? Like, you're just gonna stick a magnet to the very top of the flight stand, hopefully, and then stick one on like the back of their jetpack sort of thing? I mean, that might work, I guess. I guess it depends on how flimsy it ends up being. I've got a couple armies, yeah, so my other army was going to be Thousand Suns, and like their codex is really strong right now, but I've sort of decided that I'm going to try and get through my Blood Angels backlog for a while, and my backlog is huge, man. Like, I think last time, I made a video about it, and I think last time it was like almost 10,000 points of unpainted stuff. So since then I've probably painted like 1,000 or 2,000, so it's not going to be quite 10,000 anymore, but like it's still an awful lot. Like I haven't bought anything new except the Primaris Tepmarine in about 6 months, and I've got drawers full of stuff to pick. So plus I'm just generally really slow at painting. I make a lot of mistakes, and then I spend a lot of time going back over the mistakes to try and make it look good. So, because I'm so slow, I just figured that, like, well, do you know what? I just had a daughter like last year, or like the end of 2019, and I have a son coming on like the end of this year. So do you know what? I said to my wife, it's fine if I don't have money for Warhammer models for a while and we have to pay for kid stuff, because that is the excuse I need to stop buying crap. Like, it's like kids in a candy store, right? Like, you see something new and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that. And you know what? If a new Indomitus box or something got released, yeah, I'd probably buy it, you know. But at the moment, I'm trying to, as much as I want some other new things, I'm trying to just focus on what I have. Because I think if I had everything that I own painted, I'd have so many options for army lists and stuff, and like, yeah, so I'm just trying to focus down a bit on what I have. Alright, let me grab these Inceptors and show you how I did it. And you can decide if you think this is good or not. 1 second. I put a ball bearing at the top of the flight stuff and green stuffed on it, then a mag near the base of the Inceptors. Where should I share my photos of my painted army so far? In our Discord there is a room, Anthony, for basically just painting and also armies, so you could share it in either of the two. Alright, so these are my suppressors. Obviously not on the flight stand at the moment, and I've drilled a hole with my Dremel, like in between these two little thrusters. Looking at it now, it's a bit messy. It wasn't as messy, I guess, when I drilled it and painted it. But I guess the reason it's messy is because on the flight stands, I drilled a hole in them and then basically super glued inside the top of the flight stand a bit of a paper clip, right? So I guess the idea is that they can be packed separately, and then at the tournament or whatever, I just put the paper clip into the hole and then rotate it, and there is your suppressor, or Inceptor in this case. And they do move around a bit, obviously, because it's not magnetized or anything like that. But I mean, if you just stand them on the board, sometimes you want to be able to move them around so you can fit them in behind terrain or anything like that, you know? So that's how I did it. I don't hate it. I don't know if I love it. I actually, in hindsight maybe, if I hadn't glued these backpacks together, I don't remember, these backpacks I think were hollow. So I'd have probably actually put like a ton of blue tack or something inside the black backpack. I actually stuffed tons of, like, you can maybe even see on this thing, maybe you can see there's a tinge of blue on it. I actually stuffed a ton of blue tack through this hole as well. So when it goes in, there's a little bit of resistance in there because like it's catching on some blue tack. So it's a little bit more stable than maybe if it was just inside the hole. You just have to be very careful with the top of these, because these things, I feel like these stands can crack. So you need like your thinnest drill possible and you need to drill down. You can see there, like I've drilled in maybe like half a centimeter. So you need to drill down like half a centimeter without cracking these stands. And then the glue I use for this, and it's the glue I use for a lot of my Warhammer, is this Gorilla Gel Super Glue, which I really rate. Really like this glue. The only thing about this glue is it leaves sort of like a frosted effect, and you can kind of see it. You know, like it doesn't dry 100% clear. It dries like frosted, I guess. And the reason that the stand actually looks frosted is because I've varnished the stand, because I varnished the base. So in some ways the stand would normally look a little bit clearer than that, but I like to varnish my bases so that if I drop them, because I'm a klutz and drop stuff all the time. But this way seems okay. And I think I'm probably going to do it for the suppressors that I'm working on at the moment. I mean, this isn't a great camera angle for these because they're straight down. But I mean, at 45, so this is at 90 degrees, right? I mean, they're stable enough. They're not going to fall off there. But yeah, that's how I've done it. Might not be the best way, but it's okay. 40 minutes south of Aberdeen. I don't know any clubs in Aberdeen. Arc Royale. I do know that there's a tournament in Elgin, which is about an hour from Aberdeen. In November, the Scottish Takeover. So if you're interested in tournament play, that's happening in November in Elgin. I think they said this week there were some tickets, or there's some cancellations, so there will be some tickets. Good evening, Reziel. How you doing? I'm going to buy a Dremel very soon. I want to magnetize my dreads and inceptors and everything else. I guess I'd like to not have to buy extra models and just change metas in the future. It's a very good plan to buy the drill, lethargic, but don't think it's a big investment. The drill I got was on like Amazon for like £7.99, which is the equivalent of, I don't know where you are, but £7.99 is about 10 or 11 US dollars. So like the drill I got, unfortunately I don't have it here because I've been packing, but the drill I got has about 10 different drill sizes on it. It's just a tiny little hand drill. It works absolutely perfect. And you could pay 30, 40, 50 bucks for a drill, but like if you search on Amazon, you can probably find a drill for like 10 bucks. And I've been using mine for years, and it's really all you need, I guess. You're welcome, Teza. Once you've done your ones, send us a picture or something on Discord and we'll... But I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you could do those jump packs. And like I said, in hindsight, if I had to do mine over, I would probably try and put something inside those packs. If I was going to drill into it with the intent of putting a paperclip into it, like drill inside it, or sorry, put something inside it so there's a little bit more friction. Like I said, I don't remember if those things were hollow, but if they were hollow, maybe you could actually put a magnet that would stick to that metal thing inside the backpack, so that then when you drill into the backpack and you stick the paperclip through, then there's a small magnet in there that catches it and holds it even steadier. But unfortunately, like I'd actually already made all mine before I realized that was kind of a problem with their design, I guess, right? Nice, I have the same glue next to me. Yeah, the Gorilla Glue is great. I've used that Gorilla tape for like home repairs, and it's generally pretty great as well. So I swear by the Gorilla brand. I highly recommend it. When I first came back to the hobby, I bought like super glue from the Games Workshop website, and it didn't glue anything. It was just like I may as well have thrown my money in the toilet because it literally glued nothing. But yeah, you don't need to spend a lot on a drill. You can buy a little hand drill for like $10. You know, and you can get like those results are all done with a cheap little hand drill. And I've magnetized Redemptors and Leviathans and Contemptors and Redemptors all with a cheap hand drill. So like, don't think of it as a big investment. Like, just basically, if you never drilled before, you just want to get started, right? So just buy something to get you started. So just spend like $10 and buy something to get you started. Don't go crazy in my opinion. In terms of factor stat choices, do you think suppressors or inceptors are better for backing up a gun line? I like the inceptors with bolters a lot. I don't like inceptors with plasmas because I think they're too expensive. But like some people that play Blood Angels really like those plasma inceptors. So it's just my opinion. I like the bolter ones. Suppressors, jury's out on them. I haven't played them enough. I tried them last week, and I think overall they were a little bit underwhelming. I might try them again. I might not. I think the biggest problem with the suppressors is that they're just -1 AP. So they're strength 7, right? So like you probably don't really want to be shooting infantry with them. You want to be shooting like armor or something because they're strength 7. But then if you're shooting armor, they're only -1 AP, so they don't make wounds. Or sure, sorry, they make wounds, but like it's easy for the enemy to save at -1, right? Because armor is usually like on a 3-up save or something. So I'm not sure I like suppressors. I tried them though, and you know what? We won the game anyway. So, but over the course of the game, they shot every turn. They actually remained stationary a lot, so that their shooting was more accurate, and it was, you know, it feels like 1 or 2 turns of Inceptor shooting bolter Inceptors matches it, if not outdoes it. And sure, bolter Inceptor is a little bit more points costly, but not much. And they're more survivable because they got the toughness 5 and they got more wounds, and you can move them and don't have to take penalty for moving and shooting. I think maybe suppressors just need a little bit of love in the rules still. I don't know what, but something. They're just not quite there for me. But yeah, if anyone's got drill recommendations, by all means put them in chat or put them in Discord. And if anyone's got cheap drill recommendations as well, because I think if you've never drilled before, like I think the most important thing is to start doing it. So like start with something cheap, like I said, like $10 is a great thing to do, because then you'll get into it and you'll realize like, hey, yeah, a drill would be really useful to me, or do you know what, I don't particularly like doing the drilling. That would be my advice. And I started with a super cheap drill, and like I got a lot done with that cheap drill. I still have it, I still occasionally use it, and yeah, that's how I would start it. So I'm definitely sticking with the retro Terminator colors here. I may hazard stripe this other bit, I haven't decided yet. Inceptors are easily superior to suppressors, however, I would be happy if it wasn't so. Yeah, I mean, I think what Rezio said hits it right. That is the current situation. Suppressors are better. But don't rule out the bolter inceptors, sorry. Inceptors are definitely better, what am I saying? Inceptors are definitely better, but don't rule out the bolter ones. A lot of people, I think, ruled out the bolter ones straight away, and I find in the tournament I just played at, the bolters inceptors were some of my MVPs. Really, they were. And maybe people don't fear them because they think like, oh, it's just bolters, but they are strength 5. They do have -1, so in tactical, if you arrive in turn 2 from deep strike, you know, and you can basically get 18 shots. It's quite nice. Yeah, no, I like them, especially against toughness 3 enemies. They can do a lot of work. Well, I'm an Armored Core fan really as well. I mean, the core of my list is 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts and arguably the Whirlwind as well, right? Like, I run quite a bit of armor, probably quite a bit more armor than most Blood Angels players. Like, if you go to a tournament, I honestly think at the tournament that I went to, nobody really knew how to play against me. Because no one expects Blood Angels to line up with multiple Dreadnoughts and a Tech Marine. Everyone's expecting the Sanguinary Priest. But yeah, I mean, you don't even need to get an electric drill to start with, right? Like, just start with a hand drill. But I've got 8 of the old Firstborn Terminators here with Chain Fists. And I think that in some ways, Terminators, like for me, I have a hand drill. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends on how much drilling you're doing, I suppose. The thing that I've been noticing in games is like there's so many 2 damage weapons going around. In some ways, Terminators essentially have 4 wounds, right? That's how it's felt the last few games I've played, because there's so many 2 wound weapons in the game right now. It's actually kind of crazy. You know, Marines went up to 2 wounds, but like everybody's rocking 2 wound weapons. So like, what was the actual advantage going up to 2 wounds? I honestly think Sanguinary Guard should have gone up to 3 wounds. It just dies so fast still. So, if anyone watched Friday's video about the tournament, was there any questions? Did anyone think I did badly, did well? I was pretty pleased with the games overall. Dark Eldar are a tough nut to crack though, with just basically radar spam. It's a little bit of an annoying thing to have to play against, I guess. I think suppressors are the worst Primaris units. They missed the mark by miles. I mean, you know, they made them better in 9th edition. You still only get 2 autocannon shots per model. But I really think they need some sort of other rule or something. I can't think of an easier way to fuck up a gun barrel. Necrons can be tough, Brent. The reanimation can be a real killer. I mean, you just need to be aware of it. Why did you lose, or what came back to haunt you, I guess. In the last game I played against Necrons on the channel, in turn 1 I shot everything in a squad of Necron warriors, and I think I killed 19 of them out of a squad of 20, and then he just dropped like a couple of resurrection orbs. Assault intercessors are garbage. I don't know if they're garbage. They're a lot better once you get to turn 3, and I think that's a problem for a lot of our units that use Assault Doctrine to their advantage. Like, they're kind of weaker until we get to turn 3, I guess. But I've used Assault Intercessors to beat Necrons before. The ability to fight twice is pretty nice. And Necrons are if it's Necron warriors or something, they're generally pretty terrible in hand-to-hand combat, right? I don't think he was lucky, Marcus. Like, I think Jack is a very good player. I think he's playing in the other US Open at the moment with Black Templars this time. And I think I saw the scoreboard earlier today, or the tournament rankings earlier today, Marcus, and he'd won 4 out of 4 games. So, like, Jack Harpster is just a very, very good player. I think the terrain at that first GW Open gave Blood Angels a pretty huge, or it gave melee armies like a pretty huge advantage, right? I don't know what the terrain is like on this new Open. I guess we'll see at some point when the Warhammer community post about it. But he was also playing like a very, very high skill list, right? Like that list where you basically go full jump pack supremacy, or whatever you would want to call it. I guess like it is kind of jump pack supremacy, where like just everything in the list is going to try and make your jump pack units better and get them into close combat quicker or whatnot. That is a very difficult list to play against some armies, because if you ever get left out in the open, you'll just get shot off the table. And I've played lists like that, and I basically stopped playing lists like that because of that exact reason, where I lose the game and get shot off the table because there wasn't enough cover on the map. So I don't think he got lucky. He knew the terrain well, Marcus, and he's a very good player. Like, he knew exactly what he was going to do in most situations, and the terrain for that tournament was announced before the tournament, so he knew exactly what the terrain was going to be. And he sort of, I guess he tailored his list for the terrain. You know, he still lost against, like, I think he still lost against, like, the likes of Admech or the other top tier lists, because I forget, I don't know if I asked him in the interview who he lost against, but he had a loss, right? So, like, even playing full melee Blood Angels like that with the terrain to his advantage, he wasn't able to win all of his games, which kind of just shows that Blood Angels aren't in a great place, because you know, having that much obscuring terrain on every map is kind of awesome. You know, like if you're a Blood Angels player and you line up to play and there's no firing arcs across the whole table, and everything's obscured, and you can hide your whole army, you're not going to take any losses in turn 1, for example. Even if the enemy goes first, he's not going to be able to shoot anything on your army. You know, like, if that all goes in your favor, but you still can't win the game, it kind of shows that Blood Angels aren't in the greatest place. But yeah, I think, Marcus, the thing to say is, like, those guys on the Art of War channel, because that's their YouTube channel, Art of War, you can check them out if you want. They're just playing at the highest level. They know it, and they were able to, they're almost able to you know, they were probably practicing on very similar terrain for weeks in advance as well, because the terrain was all announced. So they knew exactly how to get the most out of the army, but even then struggled to, against some enemies, you know, to get those top tier positions. And I think in the game, because he played the third place game, right? And I think in the third place game, even though he finished third, he was basically like 1 unit away from getting tabled or something. So he'd managed to score the points, but his army was getting killed all over the board. And like, sometimes when you win a game like that, it's kind of a weird situation, right? Like, you won the game, but your opponent was crushing you all over the board, and if there'd been another turn or two, you'd have no models left. So I guess I don't think Jack was lucky, but I do think the list that he played is very difficult to play in general, right? Like, if you're a new Blood Angels player, someone actually posted about it in the Facebook group today. They were like, posted a list like that with like very little fire support, all melee, and I was like, yeah, I mean, on paper it looks great, but if you come up against like an Iron Hands player or a Thousand Sun player, for example, right now, and there's nowhere to obscure your units, or you come up against an Orc buggy list like the one that Andrew played, you're just gonna be absolutely shot off the table, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I think that final with the AdMech flyers kind of just proves that, like, some of the other armies right now are just in such a strong position. Like, it's AdMech, for example, they're just so strong right now. Their flyers are downright broken, I think. The fact that each flyer has the potential to do like 10 mortal wounds per turn is insane. You know, like, so a 150 point flyer or something, maybe they're a little bit more, maybe like 170 points or something. I'll check. But yeah, those Archicopters, they're just absolutely insane. Let me bring up one of them. I forget what they're called, but we'll look at it. They are called, I think it's the Stratocopter, is it? Yeah. No. It's one of these ones. Yeah, Bomb Rack. Once per turn, if this model is moved in your movement phase, you can select one unit is moved across, roll 66 for each Fearclaw monster in that unit, and roll 1d6 for each other model in that unit, up to a maximum of 10d6. For each 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Yeah, sorry, I was right, 130 points. 130 points, and they can do 10 mortal wounds per turn, on average 5. So if you have 3 of those in your army, you're doing 15 mortal wounds per turn, pretty reliably. I mean, that's it. What else is there to say? You just do 15 mortal wounds a turn, and the opponents just have to deal with 15 mortal wounds a turn. And if you get some lucky good rolls, then you could do 20, 25 mortal wounds a turn. You know, is it time to buy a Stalker tank? You know, you might think it would be time, James, but no, I just think those AdMech flyers are just broken. Like, they're just, like, to me, it should be able to do that once per game, right? Like, it can do 10 mortal wounds a turn, and you can have 3 of them. Like, that's 30 mortal wounds a turn, right? Like, if you add up my whole army, like all my infantry in my army, right, I'm running like 8 Sangre Guard, no, sorry, 7, like 6 Vanguard Vets. Do you know what? I want to know in my recent tournament list. Let me see. I just pull that up. I'll pull up the picture of it because I know exactly where that was. Infantry-wise in that list, I had 5 Blade Guard Veterans, so that's 15 wounds. I had 3 Inceptors, so that's another 9, 24 wounds. 6 Vanguard Vets, that's 12, that's 36. 5 Infiltrators, that gives me 46. 7 Sanguinary Guard, that gives me 14. So I had 60 wounds. Like, if you add up all my models together in that tournament, I had 60 wounds. And you're telling me that he can do 30 mortal wounds per turn. So basically, like, in 1 or 2 turns, probably in 2 turns, his 130 points of flyers can kill like 13 or 1400 points to my army. And you're right, yes, we can charge flyers, but like, so I've played against that once. I played against it on stream. And like, they basically flew one of the flyers over my Sanguinary Guard and bombed the Sanguinary Guard. And at that point, the Sanguinary Guard would have been like 7 or 8 guys. So straight away, we just lose half the Sanguinary Guard. Like, I'm deployed 45 inches back. Doesn't matter. They just fly right on over the top of you and just bomb you. There's no, you know, there is no counter to it right now. I think that's the problem. Like, it just, I don't know who's writing that codex, but like, it's just stupid. Like, there's no semblance of balance with the AdMech against the other codexes. Like, how you can have a model that's 130 points that can just do 10 mortal wounds per turn is... oh, and it's got other guns as well, right? Like, and it's got other things it can do too, right? I actually thought there was a way that you could like drop double bombs, but maybe that was an orc stratagem. I can't remember. But Blood Angels can charge the flyers. Yeah, I mean, it's just... I still think that those AdMech flyers are broken. Like... Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're broken. Like, I don't think there's any skill in them. You know, like... Yeah... I think of 40k is... Like, I don't think of 40k as a dice-based game, right? Like, the dice... Usually you throw enough dice over the course of a game where, like... The dice shouldn't matter, right? You know, like... For example, you know, early in the game you fail some saves here, later in the game you make some clutch saves. I think it averages out. And, like... I think if you throw... Like, on any given night you play 40k, you must throw, like, 200-300 dice, right? Maybe even more, maybe 500 dice if you've got like a horde-based list. But if you throw 500 dice, I feel like you throw enough dice where the dice are irrelevant, right? Like the dice are just gonna, you're throwing enough dice that you're gonna get averages. Sure, one night in a blue moon, you can have a game where every dice roll goes for you. Likewise, you can have a game where every dice roll goes against you, and that it does happen. I'd say like that's the minority, right? I'd say that like 9 out of 10 games the dice roll averages, and it comes down to who knows their army best, who's got the better strategy, or who is the more skillful player, or that sort of stuff. That AdMech list just changes the whole game. Like it's just a luck-based game, right? They fly over the top of you, and you just have to cross your fingers and hope that they don't do 10 mortal wounds to you and turn 1 and destroy one of your most important units. And I just think it's stupid. I just don't like it. I'll shut up now about AdMech flyers, but yeah. Is anyone running captain? I run a captain in all my lists, and he's a captain on a bike, and he's upgraded to the chapter master. Shame GW took away 15-man Death Company. It would have been a good Hammer of Wrath against lower toughness enemies at least. Yeah, do you know what? That is a point. Hammer of Wrath is like our best mortal wound dealing stratagem, and it's not that strong. Didn't Death Company used to be 20, or am I making that up? I feel like at some point they were definitely 20. Yeah, I don't know why they've shifted so, like, it's like every new codex now just does tons of mortal wounds. You know, like, there's so many ways in that new Orc codex for them to just splatter out mortal wounds. It started with the Sisters codex, where they had like the flamers and the bolters that could just do a ton of mortal wounds. It got a bit worse with both the AdMech and Orc Codexes. And then in some extent it's got worse again with the Thousand Suns. I haven't played Grey Knights yet. Has anyone played Grey Knights? Has anyone played against Grey Knights, or does anyone play Grey Knights in 9th edition? Like, how many mortal wounds can a Grey Knight army put out in a single turn is a good question. Because when I played against Gav's Thousand Suns, he had, let's say, 9 Psychers or something. I mean, like, it's great for like a Boar the Witch, right? You're gonna get a lot of points for that. But yeah, I think he had 9 Psychers, and in turn 1 he did like 17 mortal wounds to me in the psychic phase, which is just I don't know why they've, you know, when we go back to the fact that my army has 60 wounds worth of troops, there's no way they should be able to do like a third of that in a single turn, in a single phase, no less. Not like a single battle round, in a single phase of their battle round. It's kind of ridiculous. Grey Knights can build a librarian that can one-shot Guilliman in the psychic phase. Well, that sounds fun as well. Yeah, 9th edition was looking so promising, honestly. I mean, we can still win games. And like, I'm gonna go, like, I'm probably gonna go to this next tournament. I'm probably gonna take a Volkite Contemptor. Just so I've got some way to throw mortal wounds out at people, and I'll probably hit it with my Tech Marines, so the Volkite Contemptor hits on 2s and we re-roll the 1s, so we get a lot of hits and wounds. But yeah, it's a tough one with a lot of armies' balances just seeming a bit off. I started painting up a Vindicator Laser Destroyer last night. I really don't know. I don't know, Highland. I mean, we played obviously at the tournament and stuff. We were playing on chess clocks, and we played against Andrew a few weeks ago on the chess clocks. And like, I actually think playing that fast kind of benefits me, because like I feel like I'm quite a fast player anyway. But you know, playing a full game of 40k in like, what was it, 2 hours, 25 minutes? I don't think that's a problem at all. That actually felt really, really quick. It felt like when we were at the tournament, we were just mashing through games, right? Like, you know, one game finished, straight on to the next, and quite often, like, I was actually finishing my games, and I think in a few of my games, I maybe finished them like half an hour early. I did win a couple of games with like a 90-point victory, right? But like, so, and like I did table a few of the opponents. But in a few of the games, it was like, yeah, no, I was finished, and like I was able to go and chill out for like a half hour before they even announced the next games. So I don't know if it's a speed-based thing. I don't think it is. I don't think 9th is too slow. Like, I think the speed of the game is fine. I think that they just, I don't know what they were thinking with all the mortal wound spam. And we're lucky we've got Soul Warden, which helps a little bit, but like some other chapters or some other factions are gonna have none of that, and who knows what's gonna I really wish that we could get a little bit of better balance in 40k right now, because the balance feels just a little bit shit. But who knows? I got another tournament coming up. I will try my damnedest. I really want to win a tournament. I would love to win a tournament with Blood Angels where they are right now, because, you know, people don't think that they're good, I guess, or so I'd really like to do well again. You know, I was pleased with the tournament I just went to, but I would have liked to win all my games. A Gene Stealer's got that Terminator's right arm, yeah. It's here. I don't actually know how this arm broke. This guy's been sat in the cupboard for too long. Yeah, the codex coming out early has, you know, I was super excited when it was like, oh, we get our codex first, but like in hindsight, maybe like if our codex was written now, I think it would be a lot stronger, because we lost a bunch of really good stratagems, and we lost some of our best relics too. So like, you know, the relic where you could make the charge on the 3d6 was really nice, or was it? No, that wasn't a relic. I think that was a stratagem, but yeah. I'm really sick of painting grey on this guy. I'm gonna say that he at least. Oh well, we've got grey on his feet to do, I guess. Put a bit of grey on this thing. Then we'll move on to another colour, because I feel like I've been painting grey all night. All the hero characters could probably use a rework. Anthony. I mean, at the start of 9th edition, before we got our codex, Astrath was 110 points, right? And I ran Astrath all the time. I really liked him. I thought 110 points, he was actually really good, and then like the codex came out and he just went to 150. I was like, alright, never running him again. Like, he can get killed in a single melta shot, right? And we're in a meta where like lots of people have melta guns. So you're gonna pay 150 points on a character that can get killed in a single shot. Like, it's just like, to me that's madness. I would lose games because of like, when I say I would, like, I'm not saying I lost games because of it, but like, I just know, like, I play against Andrew, who plays Sisters of Battle quite a lot, so he's always got Miracle Dice, and he's always going to be holding on to a 6. So it's like, the second you fail a save with Astaroth, he's just going to be like, right, 6 damage, he's dead from full health, 150 points gone. Yeah, like, I just don't. 110 points, I could probably absorb that, but like, once you start talking about like, oh, we can just lose 150 points in a single turn, like, or from a single gun, I'm like, yeah, you know, it's a lot of points to lose in a single shot. But yeah, I'm not a huge. The only character that I kind of like at the moment is Mephiston. And even he has some problems. But like, I actually want to try and run a list with Mephiston soon, because I mean, I guess he's our only Primaris character, but also he's Mephiston, so he's kind of badass just because he's Mephiston, right? Maybe I'll run it this week. Yeah, and you're right, a lot of the Warlord traits seem pointless. Corbolo having Gift of Foresight, it's like a lower reason, but like, Gift of Foresight just doesn't. It's so stupid to give him Gift of Foresight, which one of the great parts of Gift of Foresight is that you get to reroll a save on a model that has no invulnerable save. So like, again, they just hit him with some high AP weapon and his Warlord trait is useless and they kill him. Gift of Foresight is so much better like on a custom chapter master. You know, maybe if we get a bunch more subscribers when GW are actually looking at Blood Angels rules in the future, they might give me a talk. They might come talk to me. I don't know if they would, but they might. That could be the dream, I guess. I think Dante works when he's not your Warlord, right? Like, if you want to take Dante as not your Warlord and use him as an angel sacrifice / he is an angel sacrifice and he will always be able to still fight because of his one epic deed ability. Like, I think I kind of like that. But it is to me, it is a little strange to take a 165 point character to just be like, yeah, well, we know he's gonna die. Like, you know, if I'm paying 165 points on a character, I kind of want him to live. I kind of don't want to just be like, yeah, it's okay, he's gonna die. I mean, he can, I guess, but again, I mean, I'm very protective over my points, and sometimes too protective. I've lost a few games by being too defensive on, and I've lost them on this channel as well. But yeah, sometimes I just like to make sure that I'm consolidating, keeping my points alive, I guess. I like Martis the most. I feel he was essential for Death Company. I mean, what's he got? Reroll charges for the Death Company? He used to have reroll hits for the Death Company, but yeah, I haven't used Martis in a little while. The Sanguinor, I think, is the most interesting because of his heroic intervention and then obviously Angel Sacrifice. I think that if I had to take one, the Sanguinor or Dante, I'd probably take the Sanguinor. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think Dante's warlord trait is good enough to justify taking him as your warlord. And I think that's what Jack said as well. Like, he just felt like heroic, like, yeah. I think like if Dante had Gift of Foresight, maybe I could be more on board with Dante. You know that? Alright, we're going to put a little bit of paint on this twin Volkite covering. I'm going to Google one so I have a rough idea of it. Has anyone painted one of these? What do they look like? Black with silver. Okay, and then like that's a pretty cool orange on it actually. Dark Angel's Chapter Master gives you 2 CP if he's a Warlord. Leader of the Imperium 2.0 if he gives you 1 as the Warlord. Makes no sense. Dark Angel's got their codex after us though, so that'll be the reason, I guess, right? And it's a shitty reason. Like, it is a really shitty reason. You know, like, they just got their codex later, so because of that, I guess. But I mean, I figure that'll be the reason for it. Where did I put my lead belcher? Lead belcher, here we go. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I would take Sanguinor, but I don't think I take Dante. And while 1 CP is nice, I don't think it's enough of an incentive to take him. In my experience, Dante just, if his weapon was damage 3, that instantly makes him like so much more attractive. But just having 2 damage weapon, when there's, you know, like if you run into a Death Guard list, then I guess he's shit. If you run into a Custodes list that has a ton of Dreadnoughts, then I guess he's shit. You know, there's just too many situations where like Dante, in my opinion, is not going to be good enough. And you know, some people say, yeah, Dante's a force multiplier where he is, but like, it's only 3 extra inches. If you have a sort of like no-name chapter master, you can still do just about everything Dante can do. I don't think that 3 inches makes a huge amount of difference, in my opinion. I mean, it makes a little bit of difference, but like, that's the thing maybe why I like the chapter master on the bike, right? Because the chapter master on a bike has like a bigger base. So by being on a bigger base, you probably add like 1 inch. Yeah, it's probably true. You probably add an inch, because those bike bases are about twice the size of the 32 mils. So you have a chapter master. Yeah, so it really just shows that, you know, Dante's warlord trait. The warlord traits in the book just aren't good in general. they definitely don't feel like it's worth taking those characters as your warlord like ever, I guess. And that's just my opinion, you know, you guys are free to disagree with it, but Dante's warlord trait isn't great, the Sanguinar's warlord trait isn't great, Mephiston's maybe is okay now, but like, I wouldn't say it's a great warlord trait, I'd say it's an okay warlord trait. Corbolo's is great, but it doesn't make any sense that Corbolo has it. And I think Astaroth has Soul Warden, which is cool, but I can't get on board with running Astaroth because I just think he's too many points. And I have no idea actually what Lamartus trait is. Thanks for tuning in, Mark. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The bike characters aren't always better because of their need to go around. Their need to go around terrain. That is true. I think if you play a bike character for long enough, like I've been running my bike character now for like a year, probably, or yeah, it's probably a year. Yeah, because the Blood Angels Codex came out in like December last year, right? So maybe not quite a year, but close to it. I think if you run the bike character enough, you can generally have him positioned pretty well, so that like the fact he doesn't fly isn't a real big deal. Lamartus the Soul Warden as well, does he? Jack used Dante in the GT, yeah, but he didn't use him as his warlord. He used the Primaris Chaplain on the bike as the warlord. He used Dante to get basically almost used him as like an angel sacrifice character, and he expected him to die. He even said as much. He expected him to die, and then he planned to use his like free because he gets to play a free epic deed stratagem, right? He planned to use the free epic deed to basically let him fight if he dies. He even said in the interview I did with him, he was like, Dante loves to die, and that's pretty much why I don't run Dante, is because he loves to die, and like my bike captain is complete opposite. Like people just generally don't manage to kill the bike captain. They throw loads of stuff at it. Every game people throw a lot of stuff at the bike captain, and every game the bike captain's like, yeah, whatever, I'm good. You know, like there's a bunch of games when he's down on one wound, but one wound is still alive, right? I bought a Primaris Chaplain on a bike and I blame Blood Angels Commander for that. Hey, there's nothing to blame, man. That's a good model to have. It's also, it's one of the coolest looking models they've released recently, I think, because of it's a bit Ghost Rider vibe, I guess. And also, if you spec him right, he can be one of the best. The Primaris Chaplain on a bike can be one of the best warlords, I think, in the game. And Jack obviously used him as his warlord in that tournament, and you know, Jack's tournament results sort of speak for themselves. A lot of people want to say that like Jack's tournament result was based on like the map or the enemies that he fought, but I mean, you still have, you know, you still have to win a tough battle, even if you have a bit of an advantage with terrain, for example. Which is what I think most people are saying, like he had an advantage with terrain. Well, that's fine, you have an advantage with terrain, you know? You have an advantage sometimes if you go first and stuff. You know, going first, for example, I mean, unless you're using those copters that drop 1,000,000 mortal wounds on you, going first doesn't always mean you win, right? Like, you might think it's a big advantage, but, like, might not always be. Or that, you know, you might have a bad first turn and the enemy manages to recover and stuff. So I think there's something to be said in that. I brought a Storm Talon and blamed one. Well, you guys can't blame me for every new model you buy. Like that's not fair. I just review the models and say if they work in a list. Codex creep is real, unfortunately. Yeah, the Codex creep thing, I had a really cool quote for that, and it was like, it was like a paraphrase on that quote from the Bible. Like in the Bible, it's like in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And like the quote needs to be like, in the land of the codex creep, the newest codex is king, I guess. Like whoever got their codex last is king for until the next codex release, I guess. Or is king till they drop the next FAQ. And yeah, codex creep is a real thing, I think. But yeah, if you enjoyed Isn't the World's lack of Whirlwind stock with the Blood Angels Commander? Maybe. I mean, I love the Whirlwind. Did you know, Highland Phoenix, I don't know if you watched the video yet that I released on Friday, but did you see at my tournament my Whirlwind never died? So I was very pleased about keeping my Whirlwind alive for the whole tournament. My Whirlwind never died, my Chapter Master never died, so I hope I gained your respect for going to a tournament and not letting them kill my Chapter Master or my Whirlwind. 40k Anonymous, go share your model buys, boys. I've not bought anything for a little while, but I have a ridiculous backlog, and I do want to get another Forge World tank. I might get one at Christmas time, we'll see. I don't know which tank yet, but I've got my eye on a few. I kind of like the Terrax, honestly. I'm kind of interested in getting Terrax. Pretty brave painting Volkite when everyone expects a nerf soon. Some people even suggest GW is not selling them due to the meta dominance. This is not an official Volkite. I've been trying for months to get an official one, so you're probably right. It is brave to be painting it. And now I'm wanting an orange color for the barrel. Give me one sec. I think I've got an orange. Someone said to me earlier they thought it was supposed to be red, but we're gonna go orange because but yeah, no, I said myself, I think that Volkites should go up 10 points per arm, right? Like at the moment they just cost 5 points per arm on the Contemptors. I think 100% they should be 10 points per arm. I think if you push them much more than 10 points per arm, I think that makes them irrelevant. And you know, like, I guess that's the big problem that Games Workshop have, I guess, is like they try and change points of stuff and then they make stuff irrelevant very quickly because it's such fine margins. But I have this tournament coming up in like let me think. It's coming up in like 7 or 8 weeks. Actually, let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got a tournament coming up in 6 weeks' time, right? And Andrew's going to be at it, and Gav's going to be at it, and both those guys are going to bring absolute meta lists. Andrew will bring a meta list for sure, because it's Andrew. And if you watch him on my streams, he always brings meta stuff. I mean, like, he literally built a 2,000 point orc army in 2 weeks. And painted the whole thing for the London Grand Tournament with like, what is it? Those 17 orc buggies or whatnot. Like he built and painted that in 2 weeks. I actually have no idea how he built and painted that in 2 weeks. Like I can't do that. Like my painting is way too slow. I mean, my painting is a much higher standard than Andrew's, sure, but like I couldn't. Also the cost, I guess. Like he didn't have any of those buggies, so he just, how many, like 17 buggies? I think they're like, I actually have no idea how much those orc buggies cost, but I imagine that like they're at least £30 each, right? So like if I'm going to this tournament, then Andrew and Gav's probably bringing Admech or Thousand Suns. So both those lists will be horrifically meta. I'd be surprised actually if Gav doesn't win the tournament if he because I've played against his Thousand Suns and I've played against his Admech lists, and both of them are ridiculous. Like, they're just super strong. I don't know, there's no other way to say it. Both lists are crazy strong. They do. The Thousand Sun list did like 17 mortal wounds to me in the psychic phase. It was just unreal. The Admech list, he's got those flyers that just fly over, and I already spoke about it on the stream, how they can do... how did Andrew do at LGT? He won his first 3 games and then he got beat by Admech. I wonder why. And then I think he lost the final game against like Craft World. But he did go 3-0 in the first day. And like the games he won, he just wrecked them, I think. Like those Orc Buggies do way too much damage for their points. But like the Admech, you know, because Admech's got all those invulnerable saves and all those really cheap troops, he wasn't able to shift them. What's happening with Imperium issue 13? Sorry, James. My 2 games so far with the Terex and Volkite have been absolutely brutal, with popping vehicles left and right and then charging whatever comes out of them. Yeah, I painted my Volkites with Fire Dragon Blight. Is that not what I've got here, yeah? Fire Dragon Blight. Great minds think alike, Anthony. But yeah, so I know that those guys are going to be bringing horrifically meta stuff. And also, I'd be really surprised if at this tournament there wasn't... So in the last tournament I played against 2 Dakari lists full of Raiders. 6 Raiders in both of them. And Volkites are really good against the Raiders, right? Like they will open up the Raiders because of the mortal wounds and the 2 damage, and they'll still wound them reasonably decently. So... I know it's probably... I don't know if... Like, Volkites have been around for how long and they've not been nerfed? Like, I was convinced that they were going to be nerfed in Chapter Approved 2021, honestly. So that's probably why I didn't do any Volkites before then. But well, maybe make a small tweak to my list. Maybe include a couple of... Or maybe include a Contemptor with a couple of Volkites and see how far we can go in this next tournament. But yeah, maybe it's a bit brave to be painting him now. Issue 13 is the 5-man Assault Intercessor sprue. Next one I'm interested. So you get 5 models on one sprue. That's pretty cool. You could make those Assault Intercessors into Death Company if you wanted. That might be quite cool. I do always mean to get round to making some Primaris Death Company, but I haven't done it yet. I was kind of holding fire, hoping that they maybe get jump packs at some point. I'm only buying the ones I want through Forbidden Planet. Yeah, I used to enjoy when I lived near a Forbidden Planet. Unfortunately, the closest one now is like an hour and a half drive from me. Actually, it might even be closed. I think they closed it down. They closed a bunch of their stores the last few years, didn't they? Same as every store that's got a high street brand. They're struggling because of, I guess, internet and sales and stuff like that. I went back and forth and ended up buying the premium subscription. I'm a painter, not a player. Yeah, do you know, it always surprises me actually how many people just paint and don't play. So enlighten me, because I haven't met so many people that just paint and don't play, because I'm much more of a player than a painter. I originally just was a player, and like I just played with everything that was grey, and then I sort of got into painting because I hated my army looking crap, and then over time I've got to a point where like I really enjoy taking the time, and I find the painting super rewarding. Like when I look on my shelves and I'm like, wow, I've got all these models and they're all painted, I feel like really proud and stuff. But like don't know if I would feel that way if I didn't play with them, because like, but then I love crushing my lack of opponents. All right, well, I guess if lack of opponents is the only reason, or was there another reason? You've seen the old Schwarzenegger Conan film, you know, like, what is best in life? To crush your enemies and see them driven forth beneath you or something, right? That was the quote, yeah? But yeah, I wanted to get... I'm badgering Andrew to print me another Contemptor, so I've got 2 of them, so I can decide if we're going to just take something that's a little bit... Well, I've seen a lot of tournament lists win... I've seen a lot of lists win tournaments with Contemptor Dreads. So, I'm going to be trying a few different things on the channel in the next few weeks. And one of the things I think I'm going to try, and you guys may... can we do that? Yeah, we can do Primaris Death Company. The only issue is that they can't have jump packs yet, which is a little bit sad. But Primaris Death Company get more attacks than regular Death Company, so if you've got them just armed with chainswords, on the charge you can get 7 attacks per model. It's pretty good. In fact, it's kind of insane, I suppose. It's just annoying that they don't have the jetpack, so they can't be quite so mobile. To crush your enemies, see them driven before them, and hear the lamentation of their woman. That last part is definitely not... It hasn't aged so well, has it, in a politically correct world? But the first 2 bits make sense. So the main thing is to crush your enemies. I guess that's what I was trying to say. Let me start up some more music. I've got about half an hour to more. Half an hour more of streaming tonight, I think, guys. Let's try this one. Good evening, Dex. How you doing? Nice to see you. I'm almost just modelling and painting. COVID put a stop to everything else. Lack of opponents for me and finding time for games. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I've got my one game that I play every Monday. That I would actually like to game more than once a week. But yeah, I just don't have time, I guess. As an adult with a family, getting 1 game per week is pretty good, I guess. And getting allowed away for the odd tournament as well is pretty good. Painting the minis is more fun than watercoloring, stuff like that. Okay, well, that makes sense. I just wasn't really... I don't think I met many people that just into the painting, but yeah, I mean, like, I suppose, like, I really love Star Wars, and like when they announced Star Wars, I think it's called Legion. I've got 2 armies. I've got a Rebel army, and I've got the Galactic Empire army. When they announced Star Wars Legion, like, I was just excited about it because it was like Star Wars, and I just like paint. Like, I generally quite like the, like, I don't like the new Star Wars, but I like the old Star Wars, you know, like the Star Wars I had when I was growing up. So like Empire Strikes Back and all that. I think Empire Strikes Back for a long time was one of my favourite movies. It may actually still be my favourite movie, Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, so I could understand, I suppose, you know, like buying models or Star Wars models just to paint them. Yeah, it's just, I guess it's something that I haven't really thought about much, because normally I just want to, like, you know, when you buy a new model, you want to play with it. So like, I buy a new model, I quickly try and slap some base coats on it, and then I play with it, and then if it doesn't do well on the tabletop, I'm like, shucks, I probably shouldn't have bought this one, and it goes back into the cupboard at the back of the painting tray, I guess. I think so. Anthony, you said you painted the Contemptors with the same Fire Dragon Bright. That's a random name. Fire Dragon Bright. Bright. Okay. I thought it was like Blight for the name of the paint. No, it's Bright. Did you wash them with anything? Empire Strikes Back is my favourite too. Yeah, I mean, the old Star Wars movies just eclipse the new ones. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm convinced most of my wins have been people hearing Blood Angels and getting confused when they don't see Vanguard Veterans and Sanguinary Guard. Why, Dex? What is it you run at the moment? And do you run any of those? Flashbacks of Red Alert. Yeah, I always try and listen to like chilled 80s sort of synthwave music. Some people I think that watch this channel maybe don't like the music that I put on when we're hanging out. So maybe I should vary it from time to time, but like I just try and have something that's quite chilled, I guess. Where did I just put the paint on the pat? Oh, it's here. Okay. I've used a bit of Flash Gets Yellow. Okay. Okay. We'll see what we can come up with. Yeah, I'm painting one Volkite Contemptor Burgosaurus. I want to get another one. And like I said just before you got on that I'm going to a tournament that's probably going to be horrifically meta. So we should play a loop of Hammond organ music. I take it you like Red Dwarf then, Lord Lysigic. Because if you do, I love Red Dwarf. It's like one of my all-time favourite science fiction shows. I haven't watched it as much as I used to, but no, I love Red Dwarf. Boys of the Dwarf! Yes, the Contemptors are kind of very meta, very OP at the moment, so that's why I'm going to have one ready just in case, I guess. And well, here's my thought, right? And this could, like, I kind of like my current list. I've been rewatching it recently. So here's my current thought, Highland, and you can, and I guess you and Reziel can shoot this down if you want, because you're usually the guys that give me some of the best feedback when I'm making my army list. I've been thinking about my list for a while, right? And like, for the most part, I like it. And obviously it did well at that tournament, and it could have gone 5-0 at that tournament. Like, it was a stone's throw away from going 5-0. If I'd had a little bit more experience against Drukhari, like I said, I think I could have probably gone 5-0. And I think that probably we don't make the mistakes against Drukhari. Like, plus that was a bigger tournament in a more populated city, so this next tournament is a smaller tournament probably in a smaller city. So like, I think I got a really good chance, right? But I was kind of wondering if there's a situation where we can get Mephiston into the list. So one way we could get Mephiston in is, as the list currently stands, right? I've been running the Terminators now for 2 or 3 weeks, and I like the Terminators more than I thought I would. They are slow. I definitely know that they're slow, but like, I know they're slow, so I'm playing around that because I know they're slow. But the thing about Terminators that I'm finding is, against Brett's Orcs the other night, right? He did 6 times 2 wounds against the Terminators. So if that had been my Vanguard veterans, for example, he's wiped the squad, right? Because it's just 6 Vanguard veterans with 2 wounds. But because it's Terminators and they've got 3 wounds, then 6 sets of 2 wounds actually just kills 3 Terminators, right? So what that actually means in like raw mathematics, or however you want to put it, is Terminators essentially against certain armies have 4 wounds, right? If you're playing against an army that has all 2 damage, like Death Guard for example, your Terminators actually have 4 wounds because they're always going to do 2 damage. So the fact that they have 3 wounds is sort of inconsequential. It just means that they need to hit them with 2/2 damages to kill them. So I think I want to keep the Terminators, and if I want to keep the Terminators, then I have 100 points to play with. So it's almost like, what could I do with that 100 points? Like, is there a situation where like we could bring in a Volkite Contemptor, we get Mephiston into the list, and then be a little bit more punchy, I guess? Might be the way to say it. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. He's not worth it compared to the Jump Librarian. I think he's of no competitive value. Okay. I may try him out though. Anyway, at least in one game. We'll see. I want to try a few different things in this next month. But I mean, if Andrew ends up taking all those fucking Rucka buggies, like if I know Andrew and they don't get nerfed, his list for that tournament is that stupid list of like 8 Rucka trucks or 9 Rucka trucks and like whatever you call it. And I've got no chance against that with my current list. Like, just like I can't fight it at all. It's as stupid as those AdMech planes, like. So at that point I probably have to take my super heavy tank. So at that point Mephiston actually is kind of interesting, because like the only thing in the whole list I need to shield is the super heavy tank, right? You like the list? I like the list I had at the tournament as well. But the list that I had at the tournament had some problems, so I'm trying to address them. We'll see. I don't like how easy it... I think there's too many things that can just wipe the Vanguard veterans too quickly. And the way that I'm trying to play the Vanguard veterans on a different flank from the rest of my army, it just doesn't work, I guess. Like, and maybe that's not a problem with the Vanguard veterans. Maybe that's a problem with the way that I'm trying to set up my list. But I'm trying to set up my list so that I outscore the enemy on primaries every game. Because I mean, like, if you win primaries, you win the game pretty much. You know, as long as you've got consistent, reliable secondaries. I already run Blade Guard in my list, so I run 5 Blade Guard vets. And I was also running 5 Terminators. But no, I think I generally really rate Blade Guard. I just don't have 10 of them. I think I have had some people have like submitted like army lists for the weekly show where they had 10 Blade Guard, and like I thought it was, I think 10 Blade Guard would be pretty strong, honestly. I just don't have 10 of them. I think I've got 7, so I guess I'd only need to buy 1 box to get up to 10. The nice thing about Blade Guard is the transhuman though, right? That's kind of the best thing about them, I guess. Well, I mean, the fact they've got 3 wounds, and a storm shield as well is good. But the transhuman is actually generally really nice. Can you run Vanguard Vets, all of them with shields? I do that, and I still don't know if I feel like they're survivable enough. They tend to get... In my list, they tend to get focused down, I guess. They're too knightly for Blood Angels? Oh man. I really like Bladeguard Veteran Highland. A few other Blood Angels tournament players have done well with the Bladeguard. Like Chris Chance always runs Bladeguard Veterans, I think. And he does pretty well at tournaments over in America. Like I usually see him placing pretty high, right? I think people know the Vanguard Veterans are a big threat, that's why they get focused. That's probably fair to say. They're a big mobile threat, they've got thunder hammers. And despite having a storm shield, they aren't all that survivable, I guess, right? Like, they're survivable, but they are just 2-wound marines. So if you're hitting them with a lot of like, and you only need to hit them with -2 to put them onto like their 4+ save, right? And like 4+ saves are nice on paper, but like if you get hit with weight of fire, they're not really that survivable. You know, like if the enemy makes you take, let's say, 8 4-up saves, you know, you're gonna fail 4 of them, or you're gonna fail a good number of them in one bad roll. And I seem to always have bad rolls with my my Vanguard Veterans. Like if they make you take 8 4-up saves, 2 damage each or something, one bad roll where you fail like 6 of them, and it's like a huge amount of your Vanguard Veterans just drop. And yeah, you know, like I said, it's not really a dice game, but at the same time, like if you've got a problem, or you're seeing a problem, which I guess I'm seeing with my Vanguard Veterans getting focused down very quickly and getting taken out of the game, because the people I play against are the same people every week, and they know the strengths and weaknesses of my lists, I guess. So if they're able to deal with that week on week, then it means when you go to a tournament and people know the strengths of your list, they'll just deal with it as well. Did you miss the Sanguinary Priest? Feel no pain, heal, revive, blood chalice abilities in the tournament? I think there's a lot of value in that for Blood Angels. Do you know what? I think there is a lot of value in that as well. But I think the problem with it is like it's just too many points and too many CP for my liking now. And I think I could be wrong here, EXO, but I think I've played against too many people with the priest, because people know when the priest first came out, people were splitting fire all over the place, and they were always leaving like, you know, like I used to run a squad of 3 attack bikes. They were always leaving like an attack bike alive, and it's like, great, I'll heal this one attack bike and I'll revive the other. But I think people have adapted now that when you have the priest, they just go, oh, it's a bit like when you fight Necrons and you're like, oh, they've got resurrection, I have to shoot everything at a squad until that squad's dead, then I can move on to the next squad. And I kind of feel the same is true of the Sanguinary Priest, in that like people know you've got the Sanguinary Priest now, so they're like, okay, well, I just need to keep shooting or keep killing the same squad till the squad's 100% dead, so that there's no good targets for them to revive, and then move on. And I think as people got more aware of the Sanguinary Priest, that started happening a little bit. And yeah, maybe in some lists, you know, like if you've got a lot of different threats, like 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard and they're all running together and stuff like that, maybe you can still get value out of it. But my list doesn't have that giant amount of infantry, you know, like we have a couple of dreadnoughts, we have attack bikes, we have inceptors, deep striking and stuff. So I guess like for me, the priest just didn't bring enough. Like I brought him in a few games and just felt like he really didn't bring enough value to my list. And then I brought the Tech Marine. And if you're running a couple of Redemptors, then the Tech Marine is worth his weight in gold. And I mean, if you really desperately need a unit in Assault Doctrine earlier in the game, you can use Adaptive Strategy, right? Adaptive Strategy is like 2 CP and it just activates all the doctrines. So like it's really good to activate like on a Dreadnought, for example, because you would be in like heavy tactical and assault, or on the Sanguinary Guard, which basically gives you like tactical and assault. So yeah, that's sort of where I stood on that. I hope that makes sense. Have I tried what in reserve? I've been yeah, do you know what, I tried that priest exactly as you said. So I made a Sanguinary priest with no jump pack, and I didn't run him as a selfless healer either. So I think you probably can still make the priest work. 155 points though, he is a lot. And if you have the right list, let's say you had like 2 or 3 squads of Blade Guard veterans, or like 2 or 3, like maybe like a Terminator squad or something, like I definitely think you can make the priest work. I just didn't. When the priest first got released, I wasn't running him actually. That was when I was running my super heavy tank list, and I was running a Tech Marine. And I guess my style of play, where I'm a bit more cagey for 1 or 2 turns, is seems to synergize better with the Tech Marine. And then the other thing to say is, my Tech Marine's now running the Soul Ward and Warlord trait, right? So I got a 5-up shrug against mortals, which is better than what the Sanguinary Priest provides. He would just give you a 6-up shrug against mortals. So in some ways, I still have a Feel No Pain, but I have it against sort of the more scary thing, because mortals I think are a bit more scary now, right? What size of magnets did I use in the arm? I haven't got a magnet on here yet, but I think it was pretty small. Let me go get the one and have a look. So that was, I'm not sure how well you can see that there. But that was the magnet that I had in the other one. So it's about two-thirds. Do I have a tape measure in here? I do actually, yeah. Do you know what? Do it in centimeters might be easier. It's like 4/10 of a centimeter. So like 40 millimeters, I think. Ryan? Oh, 4 millimeter. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, 4 millimeters. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. No problem. I like to always magnetize the Dreadnought's arms because weapons seem to come in and out of season so quickly on Dreadnoughts. Last edition, it was all about the double las cannons because they hit on 2s. So I've got 2 sets of these double las cannons for the Contemptors that, like, I guess, who knows when we'll see double las cannons again, eh? They're so expensive now. I mean, they were expensive before, but I think they've, or maybe they were the same points as they were before, but they lowered the weapon skill. It used to be weapon skill 2, now it's weapon skill. Sorry, not weapon skill, ballistic skill. You can tell it's almost midnight. I start speaking shit. Oh yeah, it's 5 minutes to midnight. All right, I'm heading off in 5 minutes, guys. So Any last Blood Angels questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I guess you can catch me in Discord. And also tomorrow, we are going to be live at 4 o'clock UK time tomorrow. So about, what would that be? About 16 hours from now? And we'll be looking at army lists, same as we do every Sunday, 4 community submitted army lists. If you want to submit your list for me to look at, you can do that as well over in the community tab on YouTube. And Monday night, I'm playing Andrew live on stream. I'm not sure what list he's bringing yet, or I'm not even sure what faction he's bringing yet, actually. Oh, I think he said he was going to bring Iron Hands. And I think he's probably bringing a bunch of Contemptor Volkites, because I think he said that if the buggies weren't nerfed, he was going to bring them to the Scottish Takeover tournament, but if they were nerfed, he was going to bring Iron Hands. So regardless, Andrew's Iron Hands list is probably going to be like, it's Andrew, so it's going to be 3 of everything that he thinks is super strong. So probably like, it's probably going to be like 3 Volkites, Dreadnoughts with the Volkite cannons. It's probably going to be like a couple of Leviathans. I actually don't think Andrew owns any Redemptors, which is kind of surprising, I guess, because he owns just about every other model. But yeah, so probably be Iron Hands up on Monday night. And usually I do quite well against Iron Hands, but I guess we'll see. It's been a little while since we've played against them. You can still get them las cannons to hit on 2s. Yeah, that's true. But the d6 damage is very rough, yeah. Midnight party all day, party all night. Yeah, when you have a 1-year-old, trust me, you need to be up pretty early in the morning. So I usually have to get up before 7 every day. Even on Sunday, I will be up before 7 a.m. So midnight is kind of my limit. Double las cannons is actually being used again. A Black Legion got to first place using them. Andrew seems like such a meta chaser. He is. Yeah, he is. He built that entire orc army and painted it all in 2 weeks. Buzzing, like he bought 17 orc tanks, or whatever they're called. He bought 17 of them, like, and painted them all, built and painted them all in 2 weeks. Like, we came back from a tournament on... We came back from a tournament on the 12th, so Sunday the 12th, and he was talking about it in the car coming home on Sunday the 12th of last month, and he went to the LGT on the 25th, so it wasn't even 2 weeks actually, it was like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so it was essentially 12 days, because the first day he hadn't ordered the models. So he built a 2,000 point army and painted it in 12 days. Just because he thought it was meta and it might help him do better at LGT. It'd take me 2 years to do 2,000 points, honestly. Time to bring out Land Raiders. I don't even know if Land Raiders. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know how much those orc buggies cost, Highland, but I guess like probably like $30 a time, right? So you had to buy 17 of them. You guys missed the start of the stream. Check out my new mask. Oh, upside down shit. Do you like it? Kev bought this from me from the official GW website. Apparently they're doing Space Marine masks now for the pandemic. But yeah, AdMech are in a crazy place. Like, AdMech are just so strong right now. But yeah, thanks for being here tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon, and we'll look over some army lists, and then we'll be back for a live game on Monday night. I don't know if I have a solid plan for next Friday's tactics video yet, actually. Spent a lot of time on this week's one, so I haven't looked that far ahead. So if anyone has a suggestion or anything they want me to look at for Friday's tactics video, you know, just DM it to me on Discord or put it in one of the rooms and tag me in it, and I'll have a look at it. If not, I'll pick something, I guess. Part of me wants to bring a pair of Derrideos to a game with anti-aircraft missiles and just an AdMech flyer and see what happens. If you got to go first, I'm sure it would be okay. But if you don't get to go first, the AdMech probably kills both your Derrideos, and then you cry. Especially if you've done an Andrew and you've just bought the Derrideos especially to do that. Alright guys, have a good evening. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to my new member tonight as well, Scrooge, was it? Dirty Scrooge? Much appreciated, and I will see you guys all tomorrow afternoon, I think. By the blood are we made strong. Peace.